Breaking news this evening, and that's that the lawyer for 68 owners of uninsured homes or empty sections in Christchurch's red zone is going back to the High Court. If this seems like deja vu all over again, that's because it is. The Supreme Court last year effectively upheld a High Court decision, twice appealed by the Crown, that the government's 50% offer for uninsured property was not lawful. In short, and this is quite a complex case, when the red zone was declared, properties that weren't insured for a number of reasons, frequently to do with death or illness, or empty sections that couldn't be insured, slipped through the cracks of the government's red zone compensation scheme. After almost a year and a half, the government offered the group 50% of rateable land value. That's land value, nothing for improvements or any dwelling. This was successfully challenged in the High Court, but appealed by the government in the Appeal Court and the Supreme Court, both of whom substantively upheld the High Court's original decision. There's still no agreed resolution, though, all this time on. We're going to hear briefly from one of the homeowners involved. She's an elderly woman whose marriage ended. She received the home as her share of the separation settlement, but she couldn't afford the rates, insurance and upkeep, so she was attempting to sell it when the earthquakes hit.
Oh, I still get upset, very upset once, anything's mentioned of it because of the length of the time and what I've been through. And, I've just sort of left with nothing after having a mortgage-free home and everything. I'm just left with nothing.
What have you been offered, Liz?
We've been full now money for our land, but nothing for my home. And believe you me, I'm not one to take things that are just offered out to you. I have got off my backside and I have tried to do things for myself and other people in the same situation.
So Liz, you have been offered full value for your land and nothing for your home.
Yeah.
What was your property worth before the earthquake?
700,000.
And what is the total value of the offer you have received 5 years on?
200,000.
200,000.
And that was for the land.
And nothing for the property?
No, nothing.
Ian Gibson is another quake outcast, or rather his wife's auntie Jean was. Jean, aged in her 80s, was suffering from dementia when she was placed in a rest home between the first and second earthquakes. She owned a home in Bexley. Boy, dear Bexley, that was badly damaged in the first quake, but Ian describes as munted, of course, as Bexley was in the second.
What we found in the first earthquake was that Jean was not insured, and that was because she'd been suffering from dementia. Her older sister had got power of attorney and was handling all her bills, but unfortunately, her older sister Mary didn't pay the insurance. So after the first earthquake, we discovered that her insurance had lapsed and been like that for 2 years, and her older sister Mary was also went into hospital at that time, and she ended up dying not long after that. But we had no way of getting insurance on the property or anything like that, and so we were stymied.
So you had to praise an elderly woman with dementia who was incapable of paying her insurance because she simply didn't know she had to. Another elderly woman who took the power of attorney on her behalf, who became terminally ill and died and didn't pay the insurance. Yeah. And the earthquake left Jean, the first elderly woman, completely uninsured. It happened when she was completely uninsured.
That's correct, yes.
And what sort of payout has there been on that property?
So initially, initially there was no offer. There was no. It took ages before we got the first offer, and what they offered us was half the value of the land, which we refused at that stage because we thought we'd joined the Earthquake Outcasts organisation by that stage, and we believe that we should get a payout of at least the land value, and ideally land value and improvements, just like everybody else had got paid out in Christchurch. So what we ended up getting half the land value offered, and just recently, after all of the
High Court
action, and then appeal court, and then Supreme Court action, the offer that we got was for the land value, but no offer for improvements on the property.
Okay, so how much roughly was the property worth before the earthquake?
Improvements were about $160,000, and the land value was $60,000, so $220,000 or so, around that.
So it had a market value of roughly $220,000 before the earthquake. How much money have you received for it?
$59,600 or something like that.
And what do you make of that?
Well, the problem I have with this whole process is the government have we've been through 3 court cases now. And in each court case, the government have been told that the offer that they made should not be based on insurance. And each time they have either gone through the High Court or appeal, and with the final one, they made a new offer. And what did they do? They gave us an offer which was based on insurance status. The problem I have is that the government is being extremely slow, but it also seems to be so pedantic and ignoring what the court is actually telling them to do. And it is just so frustrating now that it's 5 years on, and we're starting the process again of going through the whole court case again to get what the Supreme Court has told us we're entitled to.
Ian, when you say you're starting the process again, how many times have you started the process now?
Well, we've been through 3 court cases now.
3 court cases, and you're starting over 5 years on.
Yeah, starting on again, we're going back to the High Court again now to basically force the government to actually follow the Supreme Court ruling that they got last year.